Hello everyone and welcome back to Football Manager 2024 and another experiment today where we're taking a look at what would happen if you gave a non-league team the perfect reputation in world football. So what this means in Football Manager terms is that we're making them even more famous, even more internationally renowned than Real Madrid. This is Taunton Town FC, and if we look at the game's in-game editor and the club details, you can see their reputation has been banged up to 10,000, which is the highest that you can take it in the game. Now, for example, if we have a look at Tonbridge Angels, they have 2,550. And if we do have a quick look at Real Madrid, if the game will let me get there, we will see that Real Madrid have 9,150. So that means that Taunton is now more famous than any other team in the game. Now their reputation will continue to drop, so it's a bit of a tedious experiment for me in that I have to keep making sure that I put them up to 10,000 every single season, sometimes more than once a season, to make sure that they keep their upward trajectory. But what it means is that when they're looking for a manager, when they're looking for players, everybody in the game wants to manage and play for Taunton Town Football Club. So the Peacocks are now the biggest name around. And what we're going to do is go forward maybe 50 plus years to see if that reputation alone has managed to get them right to the pinnacle of the football pyramid. So let's go forward about 50, 60 years now and see how they're getting on. Well, we're in the year 2065 now, and we have gone forward quite a bit in time. Now, the club has changed somewhat, so you can see their capacity for their stadium is now 28,636, built in the year 2031, so about 35 years ago, as they've gone up the football pyramid and done better and better. And if we have a look at their general screen here, you can see that despite spending a little bit of time in the Premier League, a mid-table club for quite some time, they did ultimately get relegated, finished 20th and dropped down into the Championship, where they've been hovering in around the same position ever since. So they've not quite been able to break out of their current position and get out. And I think in the current Championship season, if we have a look at that league table, we'll see that Taunton finished 8th, just outside of the playoffs. So they seem to be going back upwards a little bit, potentially, but 10th, 11th and 8th. It's not a dramatic upturn in their performance. If we have a look at the club's facilities as well, you can see they do have top corporate facilities, below average training facilities is a bit of a shame, adequate youth facilities, but otherwise youth level of 3 as well, not great. So let's have a look at the club details. Reputation 10,000, club attendance is not great. I mean, that minimum club attendance of 1,545 is pretty abysmal. The finances of the club is actually pretty healthy. Well, 10 million in the bank. It's not brilliant. Income is pretty decent. Kit sponsors pretty high, and a few general sponsors for about 100 million a year. But they've got 210 million in bank debt. And as we saw, their facilities not maybe where they should be, despite having a roof and undersoil heating on their stadium. Now, if we have a look at that transfer history going all the way back to the start of the game, you can see the key thing to look at here is where are they getting their players from. You can see they're attracting loans from Southampton, which is pretty good in the first season. And then the season after that, there's a lot of Championship, even some Premier League signings in there, which is perfectly possible at this point in the game. 550k spent, and then 7.75 million spent, including players from Sunderland and Swansea. So the money was quite quickly available because they'd been getting sponsorship. They're signing youth players from Manchester United for £3 million. And you can see that money going up, 18 million spent, players from Man City coming into the team as well. And then £42.5 million spent just 7 years into the game, 12.75 million on someone from Bristol City. And that's how they were able to rise so quickly, is signing high value players for a lot of money. £81 million spent here, 32.5 on one player from Cardiff City. Feels like they might have overpaid then. And then financial fair play will kick in, so you'll see these swings of the money going up and down. Here we go, £98 million spent this season. And all this money would be that £100 million in sponsorships that we saw that they had in their income stream, as their reputation is really high. Sponsors want to be attached with the club, and it boosts their income. But without a huge fan base, without the huge stadium, your match day income is quite seriously curtailed. And that's where you see West Ham overperforming financially, because they have a huge number of a huge amount of commercial revenue from their stadium deal. But you can see here, maybe financial fair play kicking in the other direction, £114 million of player exits, 29 million, and then basically a transfer embargo, I would imagine, in the 54-55 season. And that outflow of players continues for some time. So they probably had a change of ownership, 280 million in players out, almost certainly when they got relegated there. And they've never really recovered from that. So if we have a look at the landmarks, you can see lots of change in ownerships. Tycoon failed to take over the club, promotion from within. There's a lot of uncertainty when you hit the financial fair play buffers, because you need new people coming in to take over the club. And that's what we've seen lately. No administration, but lots of change in ownerships. And that failed Tycoon bid means that they've had to rely on the same core ownership with promotions from within to get new chairman in. But it has definitely impacted their ability to really move on. They would have really benefited from a Tycoon coming in and boosting the way that they can underwrite their financial situation. Now, if we have a look at their competition overview, you can see that when we came in, their Vanarama National League South actually went up as runner-up in 2025, runner-up in the FA Trophy, third place in the National League. They did finally win a competition with Sky Bet League 2 and Sky Bet League 1, 2 in 2 years. So 2027 and 2029 for the promotions on that. And then in the year 2041, they managed to win the Carabao Cup. But they did it from the Championship, it would seem. Let's have a look at their senior squad schedule in 2041, 2040-2041 season. They are indeed in the Championship. They knock Everton out, they knock Chelsea out on penalties, they knock Peterborough out in the quarterfinals. They lose to Liverpool in the first leg, but then at home, in front of 14,000 fans, they beat Liverpool 2-0 to get themselves into the EFL Cup final, where they then beat Arsenal. That is absolutely remarkable. I've never seen a run like that out of the Championship. So from the Championship, they managed to win the EFL Cup, knocking out Arsenal, Liverpool, Everton and Chelsea. That is absolutely incredible. They also make it to the playoff final, but lose to Norwich 2-0. The following season, they are in the Championship. They're also in the Conference League knockout qualifying legs, and they beat VPS, but then they lose to Volos, unfortunately. So are not able to make it into Europe properly. We will just have a look if they have any other European campaigns. Probably need to go to the other end of the screen to see this. But it doesn't look like it. They didn't get too many high league finishes. So let's just have a look. They do make it into the Europa Conference League again. And they do manage to get past Ghent, Oulu, and into the group stage, where they actually do really well, winning almost every single game until right at the end here, where they play Wolfsburg in the knockouts and unfortunately are beaten by a stronger side. So no long run in Europe there. Just keep having a look here, see if they make it into Europe any other times. We know they only win the Carabao Cup, so we're not too bothered about the finals necessarily, but it's just if they have another European run in them at any point. But it's looking unlikely at this point. Oh no, they make another Europa Conference League entrance here, and in the group stage it seems to do reasonably well. No massive teams beaten in there, but then in the knockout stage it's beaten by Hajduk Split on penalties in the round of 16. It's a bit of a shame. So no great success there, and at some point here they do get relegated, so we'll know that they don't have any more European runs. And there it is. That was their relegation season here. Lots of defeats in there. Awful record in the Premier League, so they don't manage to make it out. And if we have a look back on that general screen, you can see the highest places. They finish 8th and 8th. That's the highest they ever get in the Premier League before they sort of fall out and struggle to make a break back into the top, probably because of financial fair play. So that is basically it for this experiment. It looks like the best they can ever do is mid-table in the Premier League, winning the Carabao Cup from the Championship and a couple of runs in Europe. I think they were in Europe 3 separate times, making the knockouts twice. So not bad, but it shows that reputation alone maybe not enough to project a non-league team all the way to the top of world football. But if you enjoyed this experiment, do drop a like down below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. But until next time, see ya.